All right, so today I'm speaking to Mike, who is organising Cvltfest up in Manchester in 3.5 weeks, I want to say.
It is coming up very soon. Howdy, Matt. All right.
It very much is. How are you feeling at the moment?
Um, you know what? Strangely calm, which is, I suppose, it's good that comes with maybe experience. But I'm kind of feeling that there is there isn't panic as such to come, but it's kind of that nervous. The gig's coming up. What sort of stuff will we be chucked stuff on the date, or is it just kind of like finally all the stuff coming together because it's been many years in the making.
Oh,
So it might be one of those feelings in the background, maybe.
of
But
course.
generally good about it. I'm pretty hyped, and I'm hoping that the excitement's spreading as people realise that it is still coming onto the horizon. Now it's like pretty much at everyone's doorstep. So I'm hoping, yeah, I hoping doing the tenacious D moment, sell it out, pay the rent. There's a song in there somewhere.
I have seen people talking about it on Facebook, which I'm sure is reassuring for you to hear. But
Yeah,
I think just before we hit record on this call, we were just saying how it could potentially be quite a special show because for Conan, who were our Saturday headliners, it's going to be one of the last with Mr. Fielding playing bass. So one to remember, I think.
yeah, I think so. I think it will be his last Manchester appearance. I think we have him on, so which is quite cool considering he's been in the band 10 years, something like that. Like quite a significant amount of recent input's been him. Obviously, he's done a lot of production duties for the band over the years as well as he's come on board with his studio and stuff. So that will be a shame, but I'm sure it'll be a special moment, which I'm looking forward to. Um, so I think also for the occasion they've got a special drummer in uh, for the night at Cvltfest. I don't know if they are to announce that or not. Should we announce it? Should we say who that is?
Should should we quietly leak it, but not tell anyone that it's been leaked?
It's been leaked. So it's so everyone. There's a band called Tusker people like, and they've got a singer drummer which is good friends with John, and he's joining them on stage for that particular set. So I hear through the grapevine.
Ah, very interesting. That is very, very interesting. I did not know that. No, I
But they
know
also do a side
Tyler.
project together.
Tyler's a
Yeah.
fantastic drummer. Obviously, he does Engraving with John. So
Yes.
well, that'll be a moment to
Yes.
see, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I hear. So I hear that's the case. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a few other things that are sort of, you know, some collaborations which I think we're to expect, which we shall reveal.
Of course, that's very exciting. That's cool. I mean, I've seen him a couple of times on the current album cycle. I think is it Evidence of Immortality, um,
Mm.
and I find it very replayable as an album. I think partly because you've got some shorter songs, but I love that kind of 15-minute one at the end with where it's like one note and some cool, creepy synths. I'm a big fan of their latest one, so it'll be good to hear more of that over the next couple of months on Chris's last runs with the band.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's a good playthrough of like, everything he's contributed to, maybe some some older, deeper stuff. And I don't know, I'm sure, as always, they've been quite prolific in recent years with their releases, been pretty consistent. Every 2, 3 years has either been an EP or split or an album. And, they're not, you know, they're a band not that don't release 3 minute, made for radio singles. These are usually like, 6, 7, 8, and so on, you know, journeys of epic proportions, doom at the very best. And it's good that they're actually, they're fairly local. Obviously based out of Liverpool mostly, so that's not too far. Well, I could say local-ish to Manchester, because obviously there's be some rivalry amongst local people. I can't put all of that Merseyside and the Manchester people into one. It's all in the north, which
It is all in the north.
all north.
That's true.
It's all in the north.
Very true.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they bring to the table, especially being, like you say, an event where Chris is sort of not, saying farewell for fans, but I think they've made it clear that he's still going to be behind the scenes. Maybe I don't know if that's going to be in a recording capability or may not contribute, which will be interesting. So I think his touring will stop, but I don't know if he'll musically stop with them. I'd be kind of interested to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I know they've got the guy from Fudge Tunnel coming in. I can never remember his name. I have seen Conan with that bassist times.
I think he's covered a couple of times, hasn't he? For them over the years. Maybe on a tour, perhaps. I can't quite. Not for a few years, anyway.
Yeah, but I know. I think he'll carry on producing. But another one of Chris's bands that he works with in the studio is, of course, Boss Keloid, who are probably a little bit more local to Manchester, I'd have thought, than Liverpudlians will have you think. But
yes, of course, yeah. There's a. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was looking and thinking there isn't, Manchester itself isn't really represented so much, barring Pijn, where obviously Joe, who's another producer, no studio, is involved with the musical scene quite a lot. Their involvement, but yeah, obviously Wigan, the Boss Colloid. I'm looking. I am looking forward to see what they bring to the table. The last time they played Manchester was might have been a year ago actually, when they were touring with.
the Grey, the Grey, the local opener. I saw them in Nottingham about a year ago, though.
With the Grey.
The Grey were on the bill, but I'm gonna have to look this up. But I did see them around about a year ago as well. I'm gonna have to look.
I'm trying to think of when you sort of think of the artwork, you think I can see a band, I can't quite in my head think who it is. I know on the bill there's Barbarian Hermit played.
Oh, I saw them. They were Uprising as well.
Yes.
They were at Uprising. What? Here we go. I found the actual kind of event page of the one that I went to.
Shout out to Uprising and Simon, obviously, another very good festival in the UK.
Oh, I do love Uprising. I went for the first time last year, and I saw Boss Keloid there, of course.
Yes.
Come on, here. Oh, it was with Giant Walker. There you go.
Giant Walker. Yes, I think they're from Newcastle. Those guys, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah. I'm interested to see what they're cooking up at the moment, because I've seen a few studio jams posted online. I've been following them for a good few years now, but they just seem to get better and better every time. And again, like Conan, it's not 3-minute radio jams either. It's very intricate, very cool stuff that they come up with.
Yes, bands. I always find that bands that sort of look like they've planned out their melodic areas. Sometimes you kind of wonder, was that a plan, or were you guys jamming out and that sort of naturally came to the table? You go, oh, do that again. Let's do that, more of that. I always kind of find that the creative process that came to that instrumental segment that you hear some of these bands do, and you think, how did you get to that? Because obviously everyone loves you doing that, but was that weeks of turmoil? Was that just like a natural jam that happened that just gelled well, that particular practice session or recording session, and what they bring to it? But I agree, they're a band to watch. I've seen them a couple of times, and they were a pleasure both times. Nice people as well, so a good pairing with Boss Colloid. So 1 year on from their, Boss Colloid, that is, from their Manchester appearance, which was in the same venue actually.
Right.
So we hosted with Riffolution, with Danny Riffolution, and they were phenomenal. They put on a really good show. It was nice that they were obviously concentrating mostly on their newest album.
Yeah.
But they did bring a lot of deep cuts into it, from the last 10 or so years. I think they even played some early EP stuff, which went down really well, unexpected as well. But it was nice to see them do it and not be afraid to obviously touch some of the older material as well, because you sometimes feel that bands, as they progress, don't always go back, or rarely sort of touch it, or quite often not. You find on bills that it's if they've got a 30-minute or 40-minute set, they're just the time doesn't allow for it. 1 minute, might only be able to play 3 songs. 30-minute set or an hour set might get whatever. Song ratio to set time is sometimes it's probably the most problematic thing in this scene, and most musicians should probably say that. 5 hours on a motorway, 20 minutes warming up and setting up the equipment,
right? Yeah,
half an hour set, pack down, another motorway journey. But also at the same time, that entire lifestyle is, I suppose, can't be beaten as well. For punters, people organising, and the bands, they live for that. I find it all very exciting. That's an exciting. That's where the nerves actually. That's probably where the nerves kick in. Being there on the day, we've got print offs for sound men. We've got people texting say we're on our way or late, or the little nervy threads of things going on there. And you've got bands setting up on stage, and the doors aren't open yet. You're like, what, an hour, 2 hours from opening, the green room set up, and you're just sort of thinking, everything's done, kinda. We're on the day now. We're kind of waiting for the stuff to happen. Now the shred. Now I'm going to unravel. Trying to keep yourself calm, the game face. We're about to. The most wonderful thing of running an event is open the doors and welcome everyone in, and people being I love the backstory. Like, how far have these people travelled? They've travelled in from Scotland, travelled in from wherever like that. We've known people to we're quite we had Witch Hazel, with Riffolution booked Witch Hazel, and we were sort of helping with that just before Christmas. We had people that couldn't get to the show in London with Green Lung, so they got tickets to Manchester and they flew in from Spain.
Wow!
I was like, what? I was like, yeah, all 4 of us flew in from Spain. I was like, what is this? I was thinking. And it's little nuggets like that, the dedication from fan base that sort of really solidifies why do you do this? Is the hours you spend on it, time, the stress, sometimes things don't go to plan, and your first draft of bands aren't there, or whatever, whatever in the creative process, from literally, your fantasy lineup of bands, and then going, that is too much money, so make that less, but still keep some good bits so it attracts people. But then we've got people that travel literally in a couple of hours in a plane in the air, and they've done a whole bunch of stuff to get to come to that gig, and they come for a 4-hour gig, and then fly home. It's like, wow, okay, this is kind of worth it. This is what fans live for, and meeting people like that as well. Meeting people from other sides of the world that travel to go see the same thing you want to go see, because at the end of the day, it's about the music and where that takes you. It's your relief from your day-to-day job and your stresses in the world and the rest of it. This is your outlet. You want to scream, you want to shout in a mosh, push around, have some refreshments, meet some friends, new and old, and you kind of think, this is the melting pot of a lot of even new and old friendships and things like that. And that's the community that it creates is probably the most rewarding thing that you can take away from putting on a show like this. Because
the things that I think the people that follow heavy music they know dedication like nothing else. I think I was chatting to a guy because I played a show up in Glasgow, I want to say, and he'd come from north of Aberdeen
yes,
to come see us, and I was just blown away, like a 4-hour bus journey and then stay the night and then go back up. I mean, I haven't done that for years. Like maybe I'm kind of slowing down and less willing to go really long distances as I get older, and I should do more of that. But it always blows me away, and I think that is something very special to the community. I think because the shows tend to be a little bit smaller um, than more mainstream music events.
Yeah,
It does mean that the people are there. They really want to be there. They're really passionate about the bands on. They're all music nerds, which is who you want to be playing to at the end
yeah,
of the
yeah. These are, people coming to the shows, the people that, you might be paying to like 10 people.
day.
It's the like, but those 10 people want to buy. Have you got a record?
Yeah,
Have you got a CD? Can I buy something? Like you said, they've traveled all this way, but they've not finished spending yet. They want to buy some merchandise. They want to give back to the music, especially in the age of streaming and like, digital music consumption. The fact that people still want to, buy records more than in the entire like 90s decade, like now on alternative music than ever, and it's become its own thing. Tape and I mean, CDs are probably the third format now after tape and record. Which, I mean, if you said that 20 years ago, we'd have sort of been laughing like, no, mate, it's all digital now. It's all mini desk and iPods, but it's going back round. But people want, as much as they want the connection with people there, they want to take a little bit of the show back with them, to having a physical record or being able to chat to a band afterwards.
hmm
I think if you do it on a day-to-day basis and tour and put on shows, I think sometimes you kind of forget, like, maybe some, people at the show, this is quite a special moment for them.
yeah.
Whereas you might be in kind of like, I've done 2 or 3 of these in a row, or you're in a bit of a roll, the rest of like that. You take that step back for a second, you just sort of absorb what's going on around you. Think, this is really, this is special. This is something else. People connecting on a musical level,
No,
gaining friendships, meeting people, and it's you know it's a really positive feeling you get from it. This is what I take from it anyway. I know that a lot, people kind of share this element of the community feel from the various things that people take from shows. It's usually, I usually find that this type of music is usually genuinely positive most of the time that you're there. I think it's something, obviously encourage putting on a festival like this to have that feeling with people, or share that feeling with people. Hopefully that mutual, community turn up for it. That's what we hope for anyway.
I think with kind of you know, buying a record and speaking to the band, they're often very approachable. Like I remember the first time I spoke to June, who are the Friday night headliner. They've been one of my favorite bands since just after Asheron came out, and I thought, oh, there's no way they're going to top this, and then they did. And I brought my well, I went and spoke to them before the show, and I had my vinyl in my little Tesco bag, and was like, look, would you
Yeah.
mind just signing it? Like, I know I've been trying to speak to you on a kind of one-on-one level, but I'm a really big fan of your music, and it would mean life could just put your signature on it. And they were more than happy to do that. Absolutely more.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
Meeting people that are, I suppose, like, just because when you see a band that end up like June, for example, like, they, you know, they've they've done some big tours. They've shared some bills with some big people, and like, I've never met any of them yet. I'm looking forward to meeting them and chatting to them and stuff like that. But their music, I've been enjoying their music for years. I think I finally got to see them live for the first time. I think it was at a Damnation festival, or was it Our Tangent? I can't quite remember, but I've been listening to them for a little while now. I was just blown away when I saw them. I didn't know if I'd heard they were good live, and I'd listened to the albums, and I go, there's a lot of stuff going on there, and I weren't sure if that would transcend. Would I personally take from what I take from the record on the live experience? Because sometimes you might not always get, you might be slightly catfished into, like, musically catfished, like, this is really good, but then you see it live, you go, it's not as I thought it might be. It might still be good, but you might kind of had a different feeling about it. But I watched it, I got got the same feeling from listening to the record that I saw him in live. Actually, I kind of preferred it live, and I was
Right.
like, this is. I don't know, even though even though it was really, quite something else on record. Seeing it live and seeing the passion behind the performance and that sort of transcend and how that feeling was sort of resonated with the crowd, especially our Tangent, which I remember their performance from the other year. I was wowed by it, and had the opportunity to work with them. I think we were initially going to try and do something with them a couple of years ago, but it didn't quite work out. So to get them on board, I think fairly early actually in the in the creative process of bands that we thought would be very cool to have as a headline. It was cool to be able to say yes, we're going to have them on, and we'll be able to stand back and see what they bring to the stage and how the crowd, what they put, the energy they put through their music into the crowd, and what's the feedback reaction from that,
I've got a funny feeling we might get a sneak peek at something new, because I know that at Arc Tangent last year, that was the last show of the Etterman Enker cycle. So whether that means this is the start of the next one, or we'll get a kind of greatest hit set, so to speak. I mean, with 9-minute prog metal epics, it's not really greatest hits, but you know what I mean.
We've allowed for time for them to they've got the time to potentially do something like that if they wanted to.
Yeah. I wonder if they've got a trick up their sleeve for this one, and it would be the first one as well. So
it would be a massive honour if any band decides to do that. Especially like if we debut a new thing, a bit like Keloid, they've been working on new things, but they don't know if they're performance ready. So I'm like, I know some people have been jamming stuff, but will we see it in the live form? It would be a great honour if they did.
I'm hoping to hear some new Goblinsmoker, because they've got some EPs out. But I was chatting to someone about this the other day. It's been a while since there's been any new stuff from the boys, and I wonder if 2024 is going to be that year. But I'm a big fan of them as well. A little bit further down the bill, of course, on the Saturday. But they're doing really well at the moment for a band that has relatively new in the grand scheme of things. Like the last kind of 5-6 years they've been going. But I always look forward to seeing them. It's just kind of monolithically heavy. It's no frills, doom metal, and I think as great as your Pines and Boss Keloids and Dunes of the world are, sometimes you do need the kind of polar opposite where you just get sort of hit in the face with
straight. We want some straight up doom to in between our the various prog, extreme metal, post something bands that we've got within it. They're exciting bands. I don't think I've ever seen them live. I don't think I've actually had the honour to see them live. I've chatted to Adam, singer and guitarist, on multiple occasions and seen them at different things popping up at places, but I don't think they've just played at different places where I'm in different places in the country or somewhere like that. But I think they've only recently just played in Sweden, did a load of shows over there.
Yeah, I saw that.
But like you say, they've been quiet. But you could be right in relation to the new stuff, because their label, which is still signed to APF Records, has been teasing there's various different releases that might be less sporadic, but they've not really said what they're going to be releasing this year. I'm kind of like, we've got quite a lot of artists. It's kind of like it'd be nice if Goblinsmoker was one of them that's got a release on the coming up, because I'd like the concept. I like the artwork, the Toad King,
really cool.
and the theme things that he plays. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing seeing what they bring to the live tape as well. If we get to tease anything new as well, because I've listened to EPs a number of times, and it's, you know, I'd like to see something.
I guess you've got Toad King playing at Lizard King in a few weeks when they're here.
Toad King at the Lizard King,
Yeah,
yes, yeah. It's a natural thing. We've talked about it for many years, thinking I've got similar themes.
Yeah.
We should make that happen. So
I think I last saw them at Ruination Festival in Bradford just under a year ago, and Gravelines were there as well. It was my first time seeing those guys play. I was really blown away how ugly and heavy it was, because I didn't know a lot about them. I'd seen Ollie in one of his bands over the years, but I hadn't seen Gravelines. That was fantastic. So yeah.
I'm looking. Well, we've got some news about Gravelines and some something they're going to add to their set. So they I think 2017 they did an EP split, and they had Caroline from this band here as a guest vocalist on it, on a very haunting but heavy track, quite ambient and things like that. And we've got news from Ollie the other day that she'll be attending and they will be performing said track at Cvltfest as a special guest on Graveline's set.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to seeing that. So that'll be. I've not seen Gravelines in the flesh. I've seen like Ollie said, I've seen Dead Witches and seen Sea Bastards on a number of occasions. But I'm looking forward to seeing this, and it's very cool that we're getting a guest amongst it. There may be other guests. They've got they've just one of the guys from Gravelines and Torpor have released a new album together. It'd be very cool if something like that was performed in the flesh, but that's that might be saying too much alive now.
No, say no more. Say no more.
Say no more. Say no more on this. I say too much.
All will be revealed in due time, is what you're saying.
Yes.
That's good. Great. No, that's exciting. I'm also excited for 100-Year-Old Man. I mean, they've obviously been through it for the last few years, and it's very inspiring to see, you know, bands carry on sort of in the name of, you know, members who've passed away. So, and are they opening Friday? Is it?
They're opening. I when I had the idea for the festival itself, but the biggest thing was like, but who opens it? Yeah. I'd like it to be someone that can make a statement. So it like, I felt that the band that closest represented what I wanted to sort of envision, and the feeling of the feeling of the festival itself. The tone should be set by a band that sort of have so many layers to them, who I know well and worked with in the past. I thought it'd be nice for that band to, you know, especially like you say, they've evolved and carried on, carrying on and doing things live again. I would, you know, love to have them on at least one more time. I worked with them a lot over the period when they played before they played Bloodstock. They came through Metal to the Masses Lincolnshire, which I was host for at the time, and won that in 2017, and then played again.
I saw them on the Sophie stage one of the years. I can't remember which.
2018. They got invited back the following year. So, and then they had a little bit of a change up on lineup. So they're a band that are interesting. They're, you know, a collective. So they've always had evolving, rotating members, singers, people contributing and stuff like that. That's probably that's probably given them such a richness of the releases and things that they've had over the years, a bit like Ocean Collective or bands of the similar sort of ilk, you know, elsewhere in the world, you know, maybe a bit higher up the food chain in the post-metal world, but a similar sort of concept. They've got key members that sort of stay, or regular contributors, but others sort of come in and bring different things to the table, both live and recorded, which is something I always found. I found initially when I sort of heard that that's how they operate, I found that kind of a hard concept to just sort of thought band members. That's it. You know that's how it
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
It's not that.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
work. But having the idea of having a more flexible approach to it, especially in people get busy with lives and stuff like
yeah,
that. It can't always be available to tour or record or be involved to have a project where people can dip in and out of, or as and when they're live and stuff like that. Yeah, that band, I just thought brought so much to the table, and it would be such a powerful experience, especially having done the festival. The last festival was in 2018, the first was in
mhm,
2017. So to have something that's wouldn't I personally wouldn't feel would generally be opening should be opening any
sure.
sort of lineup. It's a statement band to sort of like go, wow, now I'm in. What happens next?
Well, yeah,
And then
yeah. And then,
so
and
that
then
that's that.
you've got another collective, of course, with Pines on slightly after.
Yes,
I chatted to them at Arctangent last year, I think, and I found out that they brought in I think it's Simon, who used to be in Dawn Raids, and he played violin with them that day. But I think he joined Pine as part of the collective something like 2 days before, and
yeah,
we're just kind of thrown in.
yeah,
Here you are, Arctangent main stage, go, and
yeah.
like
Um,
amazing.
and yeah, an incredible performance. Another collective. Pine have got some interesting concepts. My only gripe with Pine is they don't release enough. Because I
No,
love everything they release. I'd like, I'd love to see something new, but Joe's a very busy man producing everyone else's things. It's like the Dr. Dre of Doom.
right.
Never releases an album. Everything he's got connections to is really hot on the
Yeah,
scene, but you'd love to see him do his own project. You know, that's quite a compliment. That so never see his own releases get to the thing, but maybe but because there's they're like especially their Lost album,
yeah,
that album there very the concept of what went into that taking people's memories and different ways they have that emotion, things like that. That's not something you just put together or jam out. That's
no,
like some very intricate thought out music, concept music and stuff like that. So I'm sure if they do bring anything new out, the thought process that's come before it is being quite gigantic in scale, which will be worth waiting for. There's no point rushing out an album just for the fans. As much as as much as we'd love to see stuff, um, I think I suppose the patience of waiting for new releases of bands that make music that good, that emotive, and
hmm
connects to a lot of people deeply as well, not just skin and bones emotion, cut and paste sort of thing. It's like deep hurt and stuff like that, especially the content of that album.
yeah.
I think it's good, but yeah, another collective, very interesting, members there. But
We've also got Wallowing on the bill. I mean, they're a little bit different to your collective, but instead you've just got these like five anonymous, scary guys on stage, who, by the way, are like the nicest people that you'll ever meet. But I just love what they do. I've never seen anything like it. I was actually, I think I saw them for the first time. I was in London for Masters of the Riff Festival, and I was stood next to
oh
Adam
yeah,
in Goblinsmoker, and he was like, "Have you seen Wallowing before?" And I was like, "No," and he just kind of laughed and was like, "Just watch them."
just enjoy this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready. I still don't feel like I'm ready, but yeah, they're going to be amazing. They're obviously playing a lot of shows with Conan, so it was good that you got both of them.
yeah, it's good. It's good we've managed to get both of those together. Like I've been following what um, Wallowing been done for a while. I was thinking, I just love the concept of this band. There's so much we talk about, like the geeks of the scene and the rest of it. These guys take concept to another level. Comic books, action figures, entire like artwork and everything they do. They're such a package. And nice guys, nice. It took me a long time to align myself to see them because I was like, they keep popping up really close to us. It's like, I'm at a different gig. I'm not there. They're playing there. That's where I am normally.
Yeah.
But I'm not there. I'm somewhere else. So my first time I caught them was only last year, finally live, and I saw them playing Record Junkie in Sheffield. We were meant to go, I think Ren and a couple other bands were playing. We ended up missing it. A friend of mine ended up like in A&E in some sort of sandwich related knife in hand situation. They had to get some stitches, but he said, we're not missing Wallowing.
Right.
I still drove like a Trojan afterwards to the gig, just handle bandaged up and wrapped up the rest of it.
Yeah.
To catch Woden, to catch these guys on stage, and then they're literally like all the lights are out, lasers going off, they're in the crowd. It was absolute chaos. I was just like, wow. I've been seeing clips and stuff online, but I was like, to feel that insanity in person.
Yeah.
And then when obviously they played our Tangent last year, a few people who didn't know them, a bit like obviously your introduction with Adam there, saying, okay, you've not seen them. I was like, well, how do you describe them? Well, they're in, black beekeeper outfits with, lasers going off and smoke, and they tried, in the bee theme, they scatter about. They're not all in one place. It is not boring. They're in the crowd. They're everywhere, and it was packed out. It was really packed out for them, and I was so glad to see that. I don't know. There seems to be a natural gravitation to them. I think it's their theme and the fact that they're so sure of themselves as such, not in a sort of cocky sense, but their identity as a brand, what they're doing. They all seem to be collaborating with different artists and with their themes, especially like all their merchandise things they've released, like tape, special edition tapes in almost like HG Geiger looking gun holstery thing. I can't even remember what it was, but they had like some sort of thing, and they were limited edition but sold out really quick. So they seem to have like this dedicated fan base that, as dedicated as they are to putting their stuff out and having that theme about them, they seem to have a dedicated following that give back to them as well, which is, being nice guys as well. I'd love to see them doing so well.
I love the dude who
yes,
the guy who paints like a pedal board on stage. Just all the effects, and then obviously they gained a bit of notoriety for playing in Waterstones a couple of times, which I think is really cool. And it fits in with the overall theme. So like, why the hell not?
Why the hell not? Like they've released a couple of comics. Is a bookstore, not generally a comic store. However, it's gone down well. I think that was a book release for, I can't remember what that was. That was it Joe Cole? No, not Joe Cole. Tom Cole had a book about metal, I think.
And it was a death metal book, wasn't it?
Death metal book, yeah, or something like that, with a pink cover. So it was like, you see, I think I've seen it in a bookshelf. It's like, there's all the metal book, literature, and that book stands out. It's completely different other color. Yeah. What's the first one you go to? That one looks different. It's like the alternative of the alternative books.
Right. Yeah.
I've not read it myself, but I've seen a few stills of it, and I'm thinking, I'll probably have to pick up a copy of that. So no, So that band I can see going quite, getting big. I think I've got a feeling about them. They just seem to. There's a natural momentum behind them, which and I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited because I kind of have a feeling like when people go to festivals, I know this for myself. When I go to Damnation or Tangent, I see a load of bands, and you kind of like, tunnel visioned. I really like them. I really like them. You've got your ticket. And I kind of hope that people like, you've got Conan fans, you've got Keloid fans, you've got people that are fans of various different people that have no idea what some of these other brands are going to bring to the table. And hopefully come away with new fans that have gone, I didn't know what Wallowing was, or I didn't know what Dvne was, or I didn't know, never heard of them. I've seen them on a poster, but I've never seen them.
Yeah. I'm in that boat with Slabdragger actually. Like I obviously know who they are and I've heard of them and my mates have told me about them, but they were in Birmingham a few years ago and I couldn't make it for whatever reason. And they're just one of those names that I keep meaning to catch at some point, and that will be my opportunity. I've not listened to them. I just know that they're going to be really fucking good. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, but I think they're a band that they're almost like a band that keep trying to retire, but every time they try and have a little bit of a quiet time, someone comes along and goes, "Come on, do a gig." A bit like when I approached them for this, they're like, "Well, we're kind of don't live near each other anymore. It's hard to do, to get together. A bit like years before when we were pretty much living all near each other. Time to change, people involved, and it's a lot hard to keep this project going as it was at one point. It's more concept than a working band, touring band as such. But they said yes, and I was like, fantastic. I'm very glad. I think the very first time I saw them was playing in the back room of the Brunel Club in Leeds, supporting Primitive Man on the weekend where Cvltfest was meant to happen in 2015. I think that's the very first time I saw them, and it was being in that enclosed. I don't know if you've ever been to that venue or not, but Brunel Club in Leeds, top venue.
I think I have actually.
But their back room was the main room's nice and spacious. There's plenty of spaces to just sort of chill and watch a band. But their back room was kind of like the closet, like the janitor cupboard compared to the obviously space in the rest of it. And the vacuum of noise that we experienced there is probably the reason why I now definitely wear earplugs at gigs, to protect my hearing. Because I think after that gig, after having Primitive Man and Slabdragger, and it might have been Sea Bastards perhaps on that bill as well, I think like my insides have been churned to the next level, and that's it sounds like a bad feeling, but I went in there knowing that this is a heavy gig. I got exactly what it said on the tin. The tin said heavy. I got there, went, it's really heavy, and now my ears hurt and my insides are all churned inside, which is great. I've got what I needed from this Friday night. Thanks very much.
So only in metal is that a good thing? I absolutely love it. Of course, on the other hand, you've got Blanket on the bill, sort of straight after Wallowing by the looks of it, which will provide a nice contrast. I think I saw them for the first time in Leicester in September, I want to say, and they were sandwiched in between they were before Kundra. Who was before them? It was Bound in Fear who were deathcore. And it was
Okay, so that's quite a combination in between them, isn't it?
Yeah. It broke up the evening, especially as it was getting late by that point. But I really enjoyed it, and it's again, it'll be nice going in this time. No, that time I didn't know anything about them. This time I kind of know what to expect.
I kind of know. You kind of know what to expect, but also not know to expect, because they're a band that are quite versatile. As in, like, you might come across one of their tracks and it's like a lot more ambient and like melodic. As in, you'd almost feel that this could potentially just be kind of a lighter rock show, radio friendly feel to it. It's not that obviously it has to be offensive to be on a bill of this, but or anything like that. There's no gatekeeping of the music. People bring what they want to bring to it. But on the other hand, they've also got tracks which, kind of swivel on a very sharp turn where it just they do get progressively heavier. So I'm almost wondering, are they going to like go? Well, we're on a bill with Conan and Wallowing and the rest of it. Are they going to do? We've got to be the heaviest set we possibly do from our catalogue, or are they going to naturally just do? This is what we're doing, and are we going to hear like the more ambient side of it, or and that to me kind of like they're a mystery, and I don't want them telling me about what they're going to do. I kind of like the idea of just going in there completely blind, thinking I know what they can do, but what are we going to get from this time round? So
it is a genuine discussion in bands that I've been in, at least. Like if we put on a certain festival or a certain tour, we're kind of thinking to ourselves, all right, well, there might be one or two songs that we're going to play every time because we want to play them and they're great and they do well. But then the rest of the set, it's like, do we kind of adapt this to the audience, or do we just think, no, we'll just play what we want?
Do what you do.
Yeah,
that's an interesting concept. Obviously, coming from a musician, like the thought process of a set, being put in the position. Like, do you feel like the obviously question to yourself? Do you feel that if you are put on a bill, let's say it was a heavier bill, would you feel that you would need to pick things that kept up with it, or would you just be more like, nah, we should do what we do because people like what we do because we do it. We don't really need to compromise it. But all the tracks are yours, so it doesn't really. You're not really compromising your set as such. You're just sort of adapting, I guess. I suppose it's feeling the pressure of knowing that people, if there's a packed out room, are you going to get the same reaction from the fans, or are they going to get booed off or whatever? Because that'll be the worst thing. Like, the crowd's really not liking us on this performance, and I'd feel absolutely horrified, mortified if I ever saw bands that were booked just getting this harsh treatment from the crowd. Like, whoa, come on. I don't think it's not that type of. I don't think we get that, but like I do feel it.
I remember Slump got booked for a festival. I'm not going to say which one, but we were by far the heaviest band on the bill. The other bands were like indie bands and folk bands, and I'm not entirely sure how we got the booking. And we were given a 40-minute set, which at that time was like pretty much the whole repertoire that we had. And I was just like, I was asking the others, like, should I scream? Should I cut bits out? And they're like, no, just let's play the set that we've come to play. They've booked us. However, on the other hand, with Aluna, I remember in 2022 we went on tour with Paradise Lost. And then we had to plan a tour with Rosalie Cunningham about 6 weeks later. And she's like psychedelic rock, very 60s and 70s inspired. And we prepared like 2 half-hour sets. And there might have been like 1 or 2 songs that were on both set lists. But for that, we did feel that we wanted to play to the audience and, play some heavier stuff with Paradise Lost. And we knew it was all going to be good. It was still a Luna. But we wanted to tailor the sets a little bit, and if Blanket are thinking on sort of my way of thinking, I reckon they might chuck a couple of heavy ones in there. But again, in between Tundra and Bound of Fear, they didn't necessarily play the heaviest set; they just played Blanket, and it was great.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping they do. They don't. I don't want any band to feel that they're being. One's got to be better than the others. Like, we've got on the bill of this. Because as I see this entire lineup, every band that's been picked on it is for a reason.
Yeah.
And the reason is I really like them all. Or Danny really likes them all. Behind the booking of the festival. And I'd like to think there'd be more camaraderie between the bands. There might be a little bit of competition going. They're on there. We've got to really bring our A game. This is going to be, which is great because if we've got 14 bands playing, if we've got 14 these are like the best sets they've ever put out, I'll feel amazing. My job's done. Retired. Done. There's no because everyone's done the best they could possibly do. But yeah, I like it especially where they are on the, because a couple of friends said to me, that's an interesting booking. And I said, why? Why is it interesting? Like, there are bands that, on bills like Our Tangent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like what you mentioned, Conjure and things like that, like, they've popped up in different, you know, bills which wouldn't necessarily go. I wouldn't necessarily put them there, but it works.
Yeah.
And the fan base is so crossover because everyone, you know, everyone likes so much different music. It's very hard to sort of like please everyone because they like so many different things that you know that you can. I think that's going to be a nice little one that's going to surprise people. I'm looking forward to whatever surprise that is.
And then on the other side of atmospheric, you've got a Torpor, of course. I know a little bit about. I've never seen them, but that's kind of the other extreme of what atmospheric heavy music can be. I'm looking forward to seeing that for the first time. I've got to say.
Yeah, their new album is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's you know for a UK band. I don't personally know if the UK industrial scene is big or not in 2024. You know, that there is bands that obviously bring that into their repertoire of different sounds that they make, but I wouldn't be able to confidently name 3 bands. name, 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 3, name 3 bands that are kind of in that realm. But saying that, those guys, I wouldn't say are fully industrial. I don't think they're fully committed to that sound, but it's definitely a sound that they draw from. And you know, especially the subject material and good stuff like that, that they've got sort of a 9 Inch Nailsy vibiness, but also kind of there's post metal elements, and I like it. There's a lot of different influences. They seem like people that have got a wide palette of influences that draw the sort of sounds on there. So that album, phenomenal. The latest album. So I've never seen them live. Another one that's it's new for me to have a bill, curating, and it'd be new for me to watch personally as well. But I may have listened or followed them for a number of years, but may have never had the opportunity to see them live. Friday night I've seen all of them live. Saturday's got a few that have not. So and they're one of them. So I think their repertoire, especially 2 different singers, female and male singers, and sort of harmonies and different things, as well as jumping between the heavier stuff. Again, a band that might be a mystery. What will they play? Will they play the heavier things or the more ambient melodic stuff that have? You've got to have your attention. It's music to be immersed in. You've got to pay attention to what's happening with this, because this 8-minute track is developing this little twinges of this and that. It will get to the crescendo, the big payoff at the end, but you need to concentrate on what's happening. This is not I'm having a chat with a mate with my drink, my pint. You've got to immerse yourself in that type of music. So hopefully the audience give that level of attention when they're playing, because I kind of feel that they're a band that need that attention to listen to them, if that makes sense.
I went to see Bosk at Bloodsuck last year, and one of my friends from my camp just kept trying to make conversation, and he'd had a few beers, bless him. But I was just like, dude, come on, I'm trying to watch Bosk. Like, could you just put a lid on it for half an hour, and I'll, I don't know. The other band I haven't seen, Sugar Horse. I mean, I can't remember if I did see them last summer, but I have seen them crop up on a few support slots, and either I saw them, don't remember that I saw them, which is terrible, and I probably shouldn't have said that. But
I think you would have remembered seeing them if you saw them. They're pretty dynamic, to be fair. They toured with Conjure a couple of years ago. That's yes.
That's how I first heard the name, and then they just seem to be cropping up everywhere. I'm sure it'll be a lot more lucid for this one. If I don't know. I'm looking forward to Sugar Horse as well.
I think Sugar Horse. I mean, they're touring with a band, one of my favourite bands in recent years, which I think are starting to get a bit of attraction to them. People are starting to know the names. Sugar Horse, I think, have just started their tour with LLNN.
That's the one.
From Sweden. So they're doing 2 dates. I think they're doing also just 1 date in the UK, mostly Europe, finishing that. I think they've got a week gap, and then Cvltfest.
Yeah.
Which which is good. Which, as a touring partner, I was thinking I wasn't actually expecting that of that, those two to align together. But then they released an EP the other day, a split single with LLNN, and it's excellent. So people haven't checked it out should go check that out. That release from both those two bands. But yeah, they toured with Conjure, were very impressive. They played Doom Lines, I think, that year.
Yes.
And then they toured with maybe Conjure and Tusker as well, maybe. Yeah, they appeared on a few lineups. Ended up not seeing them at all, hearing their name, and then seeing them about 3 or 4 different times. They might play D'Artangent as well, and I might have seen them at that. I was thinking,
was Arctangent that I think I saw them at, but I can't remember that if I saw them.
I can't remember. I saw them a load of. Now I keep now I keep a bit more stingent, like a diary of who I've seen. So if I go to a gig, I write down the names of who I've seen, where they were, what venue it was, and the date. So I can just basically geek out on the stats. But it means I can go back to it as well. Like, who have I seen this year? Oh yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, I saw them in there. Who does here with? It's kind of a bit of a memory thing. In old age.
I think I had a list of all the bands I'd seen live, and I kept it up till about 2017. I think that the band I've seen the most times is I've seen some bands about 20 times maybe, but we're
pretty good going.
and they live down the road, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the only other band that I can see that we haven't talked about is Mastiff. So, last but not least,
Mastiff, yes.
Mastiff, I think it's cool. They're actually, because you've got them sandwiched in between 100-Year-Old Man and Pijn, and then June afterwards. And they're a little bit different in their kind of style of songwriting. So I think that'll be a good way.
Yeah.
Again, another statement for that early first day.
Yes. That like there were another band which have. I feel that for many years they were sort of. I don't know if ignored or just sort of like people heard about them but didn't really engage in it, and then they, after a few releases with APF Records, and then they got signed to Mark Heavy.
Yeah.
Once that album came out, I think there was a little bit more marketing with them, and then they toured with Avatar.
It did.
And then people started going, actually, these are pretty good. I mean, I knew that already because I put on one of their very first gigs in 2012 or 2013, whenever it was. I don't think they had a name on it. They were 4-piece. I think Dennett from Battalions and Desert Storm was in the band at the time. So it's different lineup. So I mean, and then they've obviously, as time's gone on, they've got, they've. I don't think they ever were really finding their sounds, but I think they've just polished what they had, if that makes sense. Because I think they always had this aggro sludge core, which is probably the best way to describe it, because it's like this weird combination of sludge meets hardcore, depending on what they do. You've got everything. You got the likes of like Everything Equals Death, which is great, very morbid. And then you've got more, like some of the more recent singles, which are a lot more, have got the punky, hardcorey, fast pace, drums going, guitars going, things like that. This is a whip up the pit type music, whereas other stuff is like maybe playing more into the sludgier, doomier, Sabbath worship riff things, but also at the same time still seeming even heavier than what they're trying to, take from the forefathers of Doom. They're trying to, project something much dirtier, out there. So yeah, having them on the Friday between two sort of collectives that sort of take on sort of, but all of them have kind of like, it kind of feels like all of them have got a set, the entire thing's got a central feel. There's sort of a doomy central feel about it. However, what they do with it is, almost like an artist, like a painter or something like that. What they do with their musical canvas is go off and various different directions. 100 Odd Man have got the ambiencenesses and the heavy things like that, but there's a lot of slower things like that. Whereas Mastiff after them will be a full on assault. What we'll get out of their set is I don't know. Because we don't. The exciting thing about when you're booking things, you're booking things sort of from the business perspective, but also as a fan as well. And then one of the most exciting things is obviously when you get to the day, once the nerves are passed, and you can just sort of relax and unwind. Things are going well, hopefully, touch wood, and you can just sort of stand back and just sort of take in what everyone else is, look around, everyone's enjoying this, and you're absorbing this set. Just go, this is phenomenal. This is what it is about. I think these guys will, I think these guys are going to try and tear it up. I think, if depending on what 100-Year-Old Man do, these guys are going to come in and go, that was really nice. Now let's get some movement, and then
get some
do
violence.
what they do best. Let's get pick everyone. If you fall down, pick them up, but also feel free to fly and kick into the pit, or not. Mosh like an adult, please. No crowd killing.
Yes, no. I think you're totally right though. I mean, even in the older albums, I think the Mastiff of today is still lurking. It's been brought out for whatever reason. I don't see Tuesday as a complete departure. It's just a different direction, and I think it's really good. Like, it's great live. There's so much to it, and sometimes I just want to mosh like an adult, as you say.
Mosh like an adult, push people about, run around in circles, be silly. It's a very joyous moment for having that release, and I think they're a band that encapsulates that. I can lose myself in the heaviness, listening to their stuff. So they've been, they're a good bunch of guys and friends, and I've really enjoyed seeing their progression over the years, especially seeing some success and stuff like that in more recent times. So again, they played the first two renditions of Cvltfest. 100-Year-Old Man played the first one. Mastiff have played. They've played all three, so they've got the hat trick. But being I like them so much, and years have passed, and we're in a different location. It doesn't really matter. I know, obviously, try and keep it fresh. Saying that though, there is other festivals out there that kind of do have that. That one band that, like, what if we change the lineup round? It's a different lineup, right? So have a little favourite. So yeah, they're one of my faves. So they make an appearance. Will they play it in the following year? Probably. Yeah, they'll probably appear. Will they play it consistently? We'll probably have to make a gap. But would they? Probably. I probably want to see them again. If they were going to say, if we're predictions of future ones, there'd be one that I'd say, yeah, without really thinking, I'd probably say yeah straight away. And excited. I'm hoping, because obviously they've got a new album coming out in March. So I'm hoping that they're not scared to maybe unleash maybe a new, obviously got a new single out with Burner and 13. So who knows? I've not really sort of caught up with them for a little bit. So be interested if they bring some guests along to the table. If we see the likes of Burner or 13 joining them on stage, that'd be quite something else. But I don't know.
They're another one of those bands where I did wonder if there's going to be a little surprise up sleeves for this set, but yeah, they're going to be great.
I've not heard anything on this one, so this could be a surprise for everyone. But if the bands are listening, guests, collaborations, if you want to up the ante with the big boys that do bigger festivals and special collaborations, why not? It's a smaller scale thing in the scale of things than the bigger festivals. However, think bigger. It's nothing to say we can't do it.
No reason.
That's what I hope anyway.
No reason they shouldn't be doing it.
Build on the community. If they've already got the collaborations in place, there's no reason why they can't be welcome to a stage which they're playing. They won't be turned away.
And then I think you said to me before the call started, unfortunately there won't be any made of teeth this time round,
Yes,
with replacement to be confirmed at time of speaking. But
time of speaking. Yes.
what
So
more
watch this
surprises
space.
still in store? You know.
Yes, yes. Posters to come,
Yeah,
advertising to come, etc. So yes, by the time this goes out, there might be an announcement already. So we'll see. We'll see
maybe, maybe.
who makes it to the internet first.
Oh, I wouldn't put your bets on this one, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll race
We'll
you.
see. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
race it. We've got 3 weeks,
yeah.
so that's on my that's one of my top of my to dos at the minute. So
Right. Okay.
unfortunately, we have one. So that might change in the next day or two once we've solidified that one.
We shall see. All right. Well, I think that brings us to all. I'm not going to try and count how many. Actually, I am going to try and count. For 14 bands we've got. Yeah,
14 heavy bands, gnarly bands,
I think that
2
brings us
days
to
of
all
riffs.
14 bands that we talked to, and a plus one as well, because we don't know who's going to open on the Saturday.
Yeah,
Just
so 13 confirmed, 1 pending. So
right.
expect
Okay.
something spicy. Um, the only thing I've really sort of add, to what we've got expected, we've got some beautiful merchandise to see the light of day,
Nice.
which will be announced to the internet soon. So done by Dominic Soher, and might be some other goodies that might be in the works. So we're working on some things. So not
Might
won't reveal too much yet. So
might be. Okay. Okay.
yes, yes.
Very enticing. Very enticing. Well, I can't wait for one. Um, we're only 3 and a bit weeks away, and I will see you
We are.
then.
Shall. So if you're watching or listening and this is out there in time, hopefully you've been able to get a ticket for it, because at the current rate we are heading towards that that tenacious D moment where we can pay the rent. Well, maybe not pay the rent, but sell out the local
Yeah,
rock show. Yeah, we might do. Yeah, it all gets recycled back into the musical scene. That's what we always do with these shows. So that's what I hope to. So think buy tickets, support it, resurrect it, and then we can maybe do another year of it. That's
congratulations.
the
That is
intention.
good news.
Yeah, thank you,
Awesome.
mate.
No, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure. Well, if you missed it at the start, this is Mike, the brains behind Cvltfest. 23rd, 24th February at Rebellion. Get your tickets
Well, one
via.
of the brains we've got Danny as well from Riffolution, so
Course,
I've got to give a shout out from the main man, Danny.
yeah, big up, Danny. Um, it's going to be a good event. Look forward to seeing yourself and Danny at Rebellion.
Yes.
Get your tickets, 30 quid for a weekend, 15 for the Friday, 25 for the Saturday. I am reading this off my screen. I'm not that much of a nerd, but yeah.
Yes, and hopefully everyone takes from it maybe something new,
Yeah,
enjoys like enjoys the time off, and anyone who has already bought a ticket, thank you for however far that we're about to find out that you've travelled from when we start looking at the tickets in more detail. Um, the appreciation and love for music mutually means a lot to me, a lot to us, as organisers. So and the band's been wanting to be involved. It's a beautiful thing, So we thank everyone who's been involved up to this point and is about to be involved in what will become a cult movement. So that's the theme of it, and we hope for it to, but a good cult. This is a good cult. No,
yeah, not one of those dodgy ones. It's
not one of them dodgy ones. Yeah, not one of those Manson ones. It's
it's
one of these.
it's called with a B, so it's fine. It's
Cult with a V, so it's good, right? V's good.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it's edgy,
That's
but good.
that's the word I want.
Edgy but inclusive.
That's what we like. That's what we like. Cool. Mike, it's been great to catch up. I will leave you to it, but
Much a pleasure. Thank you very much, mate.
you're very welcome. All right. Well, this has been Mike from Cvltfest on Diaries of Doom.